Welcome to a tutorial on how to effectively integrate quotations. My name is Virginia and I'm here to assist you. What you'll need to know for this tutorial is that quotes are used in essays, and the objective is to show you how to effectively use your quotes when composing your work. What you'll need before getting started is a working thesis, potential quotes that you feel support that thesis, and topic sentences for your body paragraphs that explain the main ideas for each of those. To effectively integrate a quote into your writing, you want to use the quote sandwich, where you explain the point that you're making, then you back it up with the quotational evidence you found, and then you comment on the quotation and how it supports that point. Many of you may be asking yourselves, why should you make this quote sandwich? Well, by doing so, you're creating a clear explanation of why you're using the quote and then explaining how it ties to your main idea of the paper. So it's making a cohesive transition throughout your paper for each point you make in your paragraphs. I will now go over some items to consider about how to effectively integrate your quotes. One easy way you can integrate your quote is by using the author's last name and then using the quote. This is really simple and especially useful with the quote sandwich because if you already introduce your idea, then using the author's name is easy. Firstly, you want to make sure that your quote does not substitute for anything that you should be explaining. Your quote is meant to back up what you have to say, not replace it by saying it in a different way. One setup you want to avoid is by using the quote and then explaining what it says. Instead, introduce the quote with what it means and then use the quote. That way, then you can go on and explain the purpose of using the quote in terms of how it ties to your thesis. Another thing to keep in mind when using quotes is that you don't want to use them in your first or last sentences of a paragraph. Again, the point of using quotes is to back up what you're saying. So the first few sentences of the paragraph need to lead into your quotational evidence, and the last few sentences need to wrap up what you're saying about that topic in relation to your thesis. Another thing to keep in mind when integrating quotes is that you may need to alter it a bit to match your writing. So say you're talking about an author and then he or she says something, but the quote doesn't have the S at the end of the verb, you'll need to add it so that it matches what you're saying before the quote. You can do so by putting brackets around the S and then adding it to the end of the word. Along with the tense changes that you make to your quotes, you're going to have to make sure that the quotes match the person you're using in your essays. So say you're writing in third person, but a quote you want to use is in first, you're going to have to change it so that it doesn't say I, but it says he or she. So the way that you introduce a quote with an author's name is really good for this one because you can say author's name says, and then you can change the quote to say he or she with the brackets again. The next thing you want to consider when integrating quotes is the length of your quote. If it's more than 4 lines, you're going to have to indent it so that your reader isn't confused as to what part is quote and what is your words. Also, when you're using quotes, you want to make sure that the analysis or commentary that you put in of the quote matches the length of the quote itself. So say you have 5 lines of quotational evidence, you need to have 5 lines of commentary analyzing that evidence based on your thesis. Lastly, if you choose a quote that has a quote in it, you need to change how you quote it. So the part that is quoted in the source that you already have needs to be put into single quotation marks, but the double quotation marks still need to be around the entire quote itself. Effective quotational integration can be used anywhere, in and outside of the classroom, or in any kind of writing that you do. The purpose is to make clear who's talking and what they're saying. So you can use this on a blog, on Facebook, anywhere you show your writing. Thank you for watching, and if you have any questions, feel free to leave me a comment on the video.